Oh, Jake, did you see Mike Tyson
No,
dropping his sparring partner?
I was talking about.
I
was talking about.
No shit, I saw it, and I don't give a f. Sure, he's looking good. Sure, he's looking.
YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul has reacted to Mike Tyson's brutal sparring sessions with loads of insults. Meanwhile, Jake Paul's previous opponent Tyron Woodley made some very daring remarks about the Mike Tyson fight on November 15th. Woodley said that the fight was even on both ends, even though Mike Tyson is near 60 years of age. Tyron commented that nobody would have fought Iron Mike back in his prime, given his devastating performance in the ring.
Fight coming up, Jake Paul, and also the Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Who do you think has this one right here? I mean, who do you have your money on?
It's a very even fight, to be honest, and it's even because of the age of Mike Tyson, and it's
okay.
I think it's an even fight because of the age of Mike Tyson. He's completely, obviously, out of his prime. When in his prime, most of his fights were almost attempted murder. So literally, Jake wouldn't have stood a chance. Nobody would even commission or sanction a fight against him and Mike Tyson.
People have always been afraid of legendary Iron Mike since they can never predict his mind and what he might do even at the age of 58 years old.
That's not funny at all.
No, it's very serious.
Yeah, now that's not funny at all. You can't laugh at that.
Mike, I don't want to laugh at anything that might upset you, mostly because when I sit with you, I think of 1990s, like Atlantic City Mike. I'm quite scared.
Moreover, Woodley doesn't have any strong opinion on who is going to win between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul because he believes that both fighters can put on a great show given the age bracket of the fans that follow them.
And you know what? I'm glad I don't have to. Like sometimes when I commentate, sometimes when I analyze, I gotta have a strong who I think should win. But I'm gonna watch and I'm gonna see who's gonna win. They're gonna go out there and do the work.
UFC commentator Joe Rogan shared a real story with Snoop Dogg about Mike Tyson. He said that the table in his podcast studio was smaller in size, but he got intimidated by Mike Tyson and was forced to increase the size of the table to put some distance between him and Mike.
Snoop, let me tell you a story. The reason why this table's this wide, this is true. This is a true story. When I first moved to Austin, I had a smaller table that I was going to set up. And I was like, maybe I'll be a little more intimate with the guest. And then I had Mike on one time, and the first time I had him on, Mike was not training at all, and he said he can't work out at all because it'll ignite his ego, and he just smokes a lot of weed. And we had a great conversation. It was real fun. And then he came back on again to promote the Roy Jones fight, and he was jacked. His giant muscles in his forearms.
Stomach was gone.
And he looked like he was ready to go.
Furthermore, Joe Rogan shared that he is terrified of Mike Tyson, given that he can still hit the pads at that speed and strength at his age. Rogan was surprised to see Tyson's transformation after the Roy Jones fight in 2020.
Pads? Have you seen him hit pads with Rafael Cordero? It's terrifying. It's fucking terrifying. Not terrifying because he's 55. Terrifying.
On the other hand, Adam Smith remembers the time when he used to interview Mike Tyson and enjoyed those moments, but also looked up to him as a fighter. Adam shared that it is hard to see Mike get back in the ring at 60 years of age, but it's one of those key defining moments that no one can skip.
At the beginning of my career, he was still very active and had some interesting, not altercations with Mike, but I saw the good side and the bad side and some funny interviews with him and enjoyed his company. And it was just an absolute pleasure because I looked up to him as a fighter, of course, the magnetism of the man. It is sad in many ways that he's coming back at nearly 60, but it's one of those things that you just can't take your eyes off. You're going to watch it.
Furthermore, Adam Smith shared that Jake Paul's fight with Mike Tyson is very different from when Logan Paul went up against KSI, since that was more of influencer boxing, and this is a real fight. Smith complimented Mike Tyson and acknowledged him as a legend.
But look, I was there when Logan Paul fought KSI, and we took it for what it was. It was entertaining. It was great. The two guys, the two YouTubers, so much fun being around them. This is a different one. Mike Tyson's a legend, and I get what Eddie Hearn says about the fact that, we remember him for what he was, but also Mike says if he can fight, he should be able to, and he wants this at this stage, and maybe it's something he needs.
On the other hand, Mike Tyson's fitness coach gave Jake Paul a brutal warning when he said that Mike is in great condition and it's going to be a rough night for the YouTuber.
Movement's great, agility is great.
13, 14, breathe.
Conditioning is amazing, power is unbelievable.
Nice one.
That was the best we've seen him yet.
Well,
It's gonna be a rough night.
Adi Oladipo has a lot of questions as to why Mike Tyson has decided to go up against a younger opponent. While having a discussion with TalkSport, Mike Tyson shared the real reason behind his fight with the problem child. Tyson said that he is the only boxer in the world who can sell out a fight to this day and get the fans excited for boxing.
I have so many question marks around it. Anyway, let's hear from the great Mike Tyson. Adam Cattrall caught up with Mike and asked him why he's decided to return to the ring.
You know why we're here now?
Go for it.
58. I'm going to fight in the biggest arena ever, and it's going to be sold out. And who else can do that?
Well, nobody. If I'm thinking about it, when I actually think about the things that you've already achieved, where you've fought in stadiums before, like Hampden Park, obviously, over on this side of the pond. I know that the Tokyo Dome have 40,000 people in there. I don't know what the ticket sales are like for this in Dallas.
We already sold Dodger Stadium out right now, and the amount of people that fits Dodger Stadium, we already sold that out already.
Meanwhile, Joe Rogan and Snoop Dogg both think that Mike Tyson fought Roy Jones when he was high on cocaine. Joe predicts that the same thing will happen with the Jake Paul fight, saying that he may go in the ring high on weed because it relaxes his mind.
Iron Mike Tyson.
The fact that he can still do that at 55.
And he's smoking weed, Joe, so he's probably in his best condition of his life.
I bet he's going in there high.
Why wouldn't he?
Why wouldn't he? I think he said he fought Roy Jones high.
I know for a fact he did.
I believe it. Why wouldn't he? Like, he likes it. Makes him more calm and relaxed.
I walked through everybody's dressing room before the fight and made sure they had their pep speech for me.
Even though Adi loves Mike Tyson as a legend and he got into the sport of boxing because of the former heavyweight, he believes that Tyson shouldn't be fighting Jake Paul. Adi further commented that Mike Tyson had his last professional fight in 2005 and he looked absolutely terrible, also mentioning the fact that he has slowed down dramatically with age.
I don't want to dig out Mike too much just because I'm a huge fan of Mike Tyson and I got to love and got into the sport because of Mike Tyson. But Mike Tyson at 58 years of age shouldn't be fighting Jake Paul. He's not had a professional fight since 2005. He had that
when he looked terrible against Kevin McBride.
He looked awful. He looked awful. And then he had this fight of sorts with Roy Jones Jr. 4 years ago, and I think we all saw in that he slowed down drastically.
On the other hand, Tyron commented that Jake Paul has always been in a win-win situation with any fight he takes. If Paul manages to lose a fight, then he is okay with that as well. Woodley claimed that he was originally on the undercard, but things changed last moment.
Jake's always on a win-win situation. He's fighting guys that if he loses, you lost to this guy, you lost to Tyree, you lost to Anderson Silva, you lost to Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz or whatever. So he's always in a position where if he wins, he goes up. If he loses, it's like, okay, he took a risk, he took a chance. So I like the fight, I'll be at the fight. I was originally fighting on the card. We couldn't find a formidable opponent that made sense. So now it's just to support the event and be a part of a big event in combat sports.
Mike Tyson shared that he feels the same as he felt during his prime, but the only difference is that he gets more massages than usual.
You get tired of being asked about age. As a guy who's a little bit older than you are, I'll ask how at 58 training is different than maybe it was when you were 22.
Not much different. I just need more massages than normal, but other than that, no.
Mike Tyson stated that he has all the bad intentions going into the fight and he wants to seriously hurt his opponent. Furthermore, Tyson believes that Jake is a good fighter at his own level, but he hasn't reached the level of the legendary Iron Mike.
Bad intentions.
When you look at Jake Paul, and I don't know as much about Jake Paul as I know about you, everybody's very familiar with the Mike Tyson story. Do you think he's a legitimate boxer?
Well, he can fight, yeah. For boxers his level, yes.
Meaning what? Not your level?
I do not believe so. No, not at all.
Cedric Antonio commented that it's very interesting to see Mike Tyson going up against a much younger opponent, and this is the type of energy that boxing needs. He also shared that Mike must be smoking a lot of weed to stay focused on the training.
They said, what, Mike, 54?
He's 59. He'll be 58 or 59 when he go in the ring.
Oh, that's crazy right there. I mean, that's the thing, you don't want to see, you want to see him have a great performance. That's the one thing, and I think that he is, like, focused on it and tightened up. You know what I'm saying? And he's training hard.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had been smoking a lot of weed at one time.
Oh, yeah, bro.
And
you smoking a lot of weed at 2 times.
Yeah. So, so I think, this is going to be an interesting fight, man.
Andrew Tate, on the other hand, doesn't approve of Jake Paul taking on an older version of Mike Tyson. Tate commented that there is no amount of money that can convince him to take on an older version of Mike Tyson, since that would be a disgrace to a legend like Tyson.
Anyone talking shit about you fighting Mike, anybody is saying yes to that.
McGregor, KSI, all these fighters coming out and saying like, oh no, I wouldn't do that. Like,
okay, and then
would you fight Mike Tyson? Again, no, because he's now old. It would be an absolutely tragic shame to knock out an old version of his prime self. That doesn't feel fair. Prime Tyson would have ripped me apart in a boxing match. He would have beaten me, so to beat him when he's past his prime just feels dishonorable, and I'd feel dirty for doing that. So there's no amount of money on the planet that could convince me to fight Mike Tyson.
Many still believe that Jake Paul made a huge mistake when he signed a contract for death against the Iron Mike.
Sign the contract, big boy. Sign the contract.
No problem. Saturday, July 20th. See you there, buddy. You heard it right.
Former boxer Roy Jones Jr. had a lot of respect for Iron Mike and said that Tyson was the one who opened the doors of boxing for him. Roy claimed that Mike was a real killer with his boxing style, but he was also the most entertaining boxer in the game. According to Roy Jones, boxing would have never been the same without Mike Tyson.
How were you looking at Mike? How were you looking at Mike back then?
Back then?
Yeah.
Mike was a killer.
Yeah.
And like, you got to know that you don't go in and play with Mike because Mike is a killer.
Yeah.
And I thought he was one of the most entertaining things to ever come to boxing.
Yeah.
I thought he really kept the game alive. Right until I got there. He had kept it alive for me.
Yeah.
He opened the door because he was highly entertaining.
Yeah.
Now, he was a little bit crazy with what he was doing.
Yeah.
But he was highly entertaining.
Yeah.
Never should have got put in prison for that robbing giving stuff.
Yeah.
Never should have went to jail for, or whatever he went for. The girl in the Never should have went to prison for that. But he was something that he carried the game for a while.
On the other hand, Jake Paul shared that this could be his toughest fight to date since Mike Tyson is that powerful. Paul also described that people shouldn't underestimate him since he can take and give shots too. Jake is excited for the moment to see Iron Mike across the ring with him.
Mike, I really want to see, bro, because you're Iron Mike Tyson, but I have an iron chin. People know that. Like, I take shots, so I think people are underestimating me being able to deal with his power. I am biting off a lot. This is definitely the toughest, most savage, lethal opponent, regardless of age, because the power is the last thing to go.
No nerves in you at all about this?
No, not at all. I literally can't wait to look across the ring and see him and give him a fucking death stare.
Additionally, Roy Jones Jr. isn't worried about Mike Tyson in his fight with Jake Paul. Roy shared that if Mike manages to knock out Paul in the earlier rounds, then he won't have any problem with the fight, but if it goes past 4 or 5 rounds, then he will have a problem because of his age. Moreover, Roy gave Mike Tyson some advice to fight Paul and said that Tyson should gauge his abilities to know if he wants to go for a knockout or continue the full game.
No, I don't feel for Mike and how old he is. Mike is a very rugged guy. When I was in there with Mike, Mike still was hard to hit, and Mike still can hit hard as hell. So no reason to really fear for Mike. The only thing I fear for Mike is like if the fight goes beyond 4 or 5 rounds, then it could get problematic for Mike because of his age. But if he doesn't go beyond 4 or 5 rounds, he'll be fine. So I think he'll come out, assess the situation, see how he can deal with Jake's size and Jake's power, because Jake does have power. And after that, he'll make his mind up as to whether he wants to go and try to get him out, or if he feels like he'll be safe to do the whole 8 rounds.
Furthermore, Roy Jones stated that when he fought Tyson back in 2020, he realized the importance of being an entertaining fighter, because if he didn't show the fans what they wanted to see, then everybody would watch Tyson.
Everybody paid attention to TV.
Yeah,
because you never knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I felt like that pushed me to know that if you're going to expect to get some of his time, you better be something pretty exciting, because he gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
It may not be positive excitement, but it's gonna be exciting and entertaining.
Yeah.
You gotta be exciting and entertaining, or
nobody gonna want to watch you. They gonna want to watch him all the time.
Yes, sir. And then back then, you never thought like, I might fight that guy. I want to fight that guy.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't want no part of my ears. I love my ears. I ain't want no part of nothing.
Come on, why you keep bringing that up, man?
I'm just saying, bro. I ain't want no problem. You feel me?
Mike Tyson went off on Jake Paul at their press conference and clowned him for an extended period of time. Tyson called Jake fat and funky and mocked him for never knocking out his previous opponents.
I don't know if he's in his prime. He's fat. He should be lean and mean. He's fat and funky. I saw him with his shirt off the other day. He's fat. I thought, did you start training already?
Buster Douglas was fat, am I right?
I know, but you're no Buster Douglas. He's not going to win. Look at, he can't even knock out Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz is 40 pounds. How's he going to knock me out? What's the other guy? Anderson Silva. He didn't knock those little guys. How's he going to knock me out? Who did he knock out? Who did he knock out? Little children. He didn't never knocked out a real man. Come on. I can't even get mad at this guy because everybody know this guy's talking out of his ass. And stealing money. I'm up here just stealing money fighting him.
Jones had some mad respect for Mike Tyson and shared that Tyson was a very intellectual boxer. Although most people may remember Mike Tyson as someone with power and speed alone, but his ring IQ and boxing knowledge was phenomenal.
But the whole thing was, I had nothing but the utmost respect for Mike.
Sure.
You understand me? I knew what Mike was. Mike was also, like we were talking about these old fighters.
Yeah.
Mike is probably smarter about the old school fighters than any boxer that's fighting right now.
That dude's smart,
You
man.
understand where I'm coming from? He knows his
yes.
boxing background.
Yes, he
You understand,
does.
man? If you don't know that about Mike, Mike is a very intellectual, intelligent
He's a boxing
guy,
historian,
especially when
man.
it comes to boxing. You
He's
understand me?
yeah,
And people didn't know that about Mike.
Yeah.
You understand me? So
Yeah.
I thought the best of Mike. So
Mike Tyson genuinely believes that he can end Jake Paul since he has given him multiple warnings ahead of their fight. Former boxer Andre Ward is excited for the upcoming fight and shared that when Tyson fought Roy Jones, then it felt like two uncles fighting at a barbecue.
This fight is not going to change my lifestyle financially. I'm a fighter. I feel good and I can do it. I feel I can beat this guy.
Come on. We're going to be in the building. I'm going to be there. Speaking of the exhibition with Roy, like when that exhibition happened, man, I felt like it was two of my uncles fighting at the barbecue, man, because I was like, you know.
Moreover, Jake Paul reacted to Mike Tyson's sparring sessions where he dropped his opponents like flies. Paul commented that he is not afraid and doesn't even care about Tyson's training since he is doing the same thing.
Oh, Jake, did you see Mike Tyson
No.
dropping his sparring partner?
I was talking about. I was talking about.
No shit, I saw it, and I don't give a f. Sure, he's looking good. Sure, he's looking.
Mike Tyson believes that recovering from pains and aches when preparing for a fight was the toughest job of all, but he works well with recovery anyway. He shared the reason why all fighters probably quit boxing because they can't handle the physical toll it takes on the body.
Listen, like when the first fight I had with Roy, right? I said, I started training. I said, wow, this is the reason why I quit fighting. When those pains started, I said, wow, this is why I quit fighting. This is why. But you get over that. And now they got medicine out pain. It's just the way they have the shit they have now.
But the recovery is harder though.
Yes. I do good recovery. I do what I do. I take 2 days off, 3 days off, the weekend off. You know, and that builds my.
Moreover, Roy Jones thinks that Jake Paul can't handle the severity of Mike's punches for 2 or 3 rounds straight. Jones believes that if Paul keeps getting hit with those devastating knockout shots, then it will be difficult for him to survive.
I don't think he'll severely injure Jake Paul because I feel like with Mike, the way Mike punches and as explosive as Mike is, if he clips Jake going down or going out. If he doesn't, then Jake will be fine. But I don't think Jake will take, like what really does damage is the repetitiveness. When a guy keep getting hit over the rounds, 6 rounds, 7 rounds, 8 rounds, still getting hit with the same shots. Mike punches so hard that you're not going to take his shots 2 rounds in a row or 3 rounds in a row. That's not happening. Therefore, no permanent damage will happen to Jake.
UFC CEO Dana White commented that everybody has an opinion in boxing and UFC, but not other sports. White genuinely hates Jake Paul and shared that the whole world wants to see the problem child get knocked out.
When you talk about fights, everybody has an opinion because everybody thinks they're a fucking expert. And nobody thinks they're an expert about fucking cricket, and some of these other sports. But fighting, everybody has an opinion. One reason or another, you don't like his attitude. Like, if I brought up Jake Paul, pretty much everybody in the room and the other room wants to see Jake Paul get knocked out. So
heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk was shocked to see the drama between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson unfold, so he came up with his own reaction.
What did you call me?
I didn't call you anything.
Mike will be put to sleep, and he will feel my power, and I will go down as the man who put Tyson to sleep for the last time.
What? Furthermore, Jake Paul expressed his excitement to face a legend like Mike Tyson. It almost feels like a dream come true for Jake Paul to go up against one of the best people in the history of boxing like Mike Tyson, or even Muhammad Ali. Paul shared that close to 700 million people would be watching the fight live on Netflix, with a great number tuning in live from Texas as well.
Yeah, no, a lot of people are, wondering, Jake, why are you doing this? Like, even if you beat him, they're going to say, oh, he was old or whatever. But to me, Mike Tyson wanted to fight me. That is an honor. He's one of the most famous boxers in the world to ever do it. Him, Muhammad Ali. And to step in there with someone of his nature is an honor. It's a dream come true. And it's going to be a spectacle on Netflix. 700 million people, Dallas, Texas, AT&T Stadium. It's going to be one of the most entertaining nights the sport has ever seen.
Do you think Mike Tyson can end Jake Paul? Will Mike's speed and agility be enough to keep up with Jake Paul's youth? We would love to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comments section below and subscribe for more content like this.